Hey. You are tuned in to episode 40 of Excuse Me, I'm Speaking. This podcast is being brought to you by yours truly. It is me, it is she. Y'all already know what it is. You can call me Twinkle, call me SheIsTwinkle, or call me Antoinette. As long as you're calling my name, that's all that matters to me. We have a lot of hot topics. And I'm using the word hot on purpose because it is summertime. It is hot. And we're going to start with the hottest topic of them all. These heat waves, ridiculous. I was outside yesterday. It was 96 degrees, but it felt like it was 106 degrees. The humidity was out of this world. I had an attitude. I had a headache. What is it with this heat thing? Because me and heat don't mix. So I looked into it, and did y'all know that heat-related deaths kill about 1,200 people a year? That being heat exhaustion and heat strokes. When it's hot outside, your body starts to sweat. Why is your body sweating? Because that is your body's way of turning on the air conditioning, a cooling system. It sees that the temperature around you is getting hotter, so your internal temperature is starting to get hotter. So as a way to defend yourself, your body starts to sweat and cool itself down. Sometimes that's enough, but other times that's not enough when there's already humidity in the air, because then there's already moisture. So the nerd in me did all of this crazy research on heat waves and how heat affects the human body, because I think that a lot of people are not informed, and I wanted to keep you guys informed. So I will put the information up on the screen, ways that you can keep yourself cool, and I will also put a link to the article down below, because heat-related deaths and illnesses can be prevented. So that is my PSA for the day. Moving right along. Speaking of heat, let's talk about the scorching hot fire that was released on season 2, episode 4 of House of the Dragon. Now, even if y'all don't watch it, I'm gonna break it down for y'all, because when I tell you this is must-see TV, I am not exaggerating. If you're not into fantasy type of stuff, or you're not into the whole Game of Thrones world, it's okay. Because House of the Dragon also gives you like drama and politics and relationships, and more than anything, epic fight scenes. I don't know what I was expecting. Now, I do realize these are not real life dragons. This is all CGI effects, but they made it look real, and I was here for it, okay? I used to watch Harry Potter. I'd be into all that little like weird nerd fantasy stuff. That's just me, whatever. So I was watching it. Season 2, episode 4, it was titled Dance of the Dragons. And there was a battle part. And when I tell you the way that dragons fight on screen, you would think that they just blow fire. No, they literally were biting at each other's necks and like ripping through the skin. At some point, you have soldiers on the ground that are supposed to be fighting each other. And you see some of the dragons' skin is ripped open and black stuff starts to fall out on the people, and they are just melted away. Like it was just pure acid that was dropping on them. It was crazy to sit there and watch. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. Like if dragons are supposed to blow fire out of their mouths, then there has to be some type of acid or chemical inside of their body at all times to even be able to produce that type of fire. So when we see this black stuff pouring out of the dragon when the stomach is ripped open, that makes sense. But it is like extremely fatal to human beings. So that was actually kind of cool to watch. Then one of the dragons dropped from the sky because he was injured that bad and fell, and you're like, oh shoot, that's probably a bunch of people that died from that, but nobody was around. It fell in the forest. And then one of the dragons was literally walking on the ground at one point, and its paw print, the footsteps, killed 3, 4, 5 humans just at one time. Like not even thinking about them. The humans were ants compared to the dragons. Y'all, I got my whole entire life. Now, unfortunately, for those of you that do watch the show, it was very sad because Rhaenys and Meleys both died in battle. Now, Meleys is the dragon, Rhaenys is the dragon rider. Each dragon rider and dragon, they have a personal connection with their writer. So it was actually really sad to see them fall out of the sky because the other dragon snuck up on them out of nowhere and like chomped on them from below, and it was so sad. Now I didn't cry, but I watch people's reactions on YouTube. If y'all have a show that y'all absolutely love and it has like a shocking moment, all y'all have to do is go to YouTube, type in the name of that show and the episode, and then type the word reaction. And it is so entertaining to watch other people be like, oh my gosh. And you literally see people crying. You're like, dang, I need some more empathy because I didn't cry. I mean, it was sad. But yeah, it was such a good episode. It was crazy. Moving on to another sizzling summer moment. Yeah, it was my birthday. My birthday is on July 9th. And I celebrated my 34th birthday this year. It was a great day. The first half of the day it was just me and my husband, and then later on we included our kids in there. The big exciting moment of the day is that we went ziplining. Now, this is not the first time we went ziplining. It's also not the second time. This time we went ziplining literally in the woods, in a forest, in Bonner Springs in Kansas, and we did the ultimate zipline experience, meaning we had to hike along with ziplining to different ziplining locations. We did 8 different lines. Some of the lines were lower, some of them were higher, some of them went slower, faster, some of them you were going through trees. It was a lot. It was exciting, and it was a great experience, right? I even ziplined backwards for the very last one. That's all good. But things started getting really hot for me later at night, okay? Not for the reasons that y'all may be thinking, though. Things got hot because have y'all ever been outside for a period of time and then all of a sudden you're like, dang, did I get bit? Is that a mosquito bite? Oh shoot, I feel another one. Well, that was me the night of my birthday. But it was like, this hurts a little more than usual. Oh man, there's another one. There's another one. There's another. By the next morning, I found 10 plus bug bites, all from ziplining. Every single bite was hot. They were just getting bigger and bigger. I did not sleep well that night. The next day I was so agitated and annoyed. I couldn't help but to scratch, but the scratching wasn't helping, and it was all over both of my legs. Now, mind you, I did not wear shorts to go ziplining. I wore leggings. My legs were all the way covered up. I always stood up the entire time. I never stayed in one place for too long, and yet I had over 10 bites all over both of my legs, from my thighs all the way down. I was in so much pain, and peroxide was not working for me. If you get baking soda, put a little water on it, turn it into a paste, and you put it on a bite, it will not itch anymore, and it will just go away. I tried all of that. Nothing was working. Let me run to Google and I type in, why do some people get bit by bugs more than other people? Because at this point, I feel like I am prone to bug bites. This is why I hate being outside. Because if I'm outside, I am going to get bit at least 3 times. It is ridiculous. And everybody else will be like, oh, not a scratch. So in my Google search, I did find that there are actual genetic factors as to why some people get bit by bugs or mosquitoes more than others, and I am definitely one of them. So let me school y'all. Type number 1, blood type. Blood type is not something we can change. It's not something we have any control over. And if you are like myself and you are type O blood type, one study found that in a controlled setting, mosquitoes landed on people with type O blood nearly twice as often as those with type A blood. And people with type B blood fell somewhere in the middle. Blood type is one reason. Reason number 2, carbon dioxide. Okay, what does that have to do with me? Apparently, science lesson for the day, you emit carbon dioxide through your breath. Maybe at some point when we were hiking and we were going uphill and I'm breathing harder, or even whenever I talk, my breath is emitting carbon dioxide. Certain bugs are also attracted to the amount of carbon dioxide that you're emitting, and they can detect it from at least 164 feet away. In addition to carbon dioxide, mosquitoes find victims at closer range by smelling the lactic acid, uric acid, and ammonia expelled via their sweat. And they are also attracted to people with higher body temperatures. So I'm a person that like sweats really easy. I'm always hot. Oh my gosh, I got type O blood. It is a lose-lose situation. I'm gonna get bit every freaking time. All in all, genetics accounts for 85% of the reason why some people get bit more than other people. Now, what is really unfortunate, a lot of these mosquitoes are actually immune to some of this bug spray out here because they have come in contact with it so often that it doesn't even affect them anymore. Well, what do? Some people will just look for the most expensive one. There are also natural repellents, one of them being the obvious citronella. Now, one that a lot of people don't know about would be oil of lemon eucalyptus. That apparently is the most effective essential oil to keep away mosquitoes, and hopefully that works for other types of bugs as well. There's other oils out there, just to name a few: clove oil, peppermint oil, cedar oil, as well as neem oil. Moving right along to a not so hot topic. Y'all, we gotta talk about it. That presidential debate was a hotmess.com. That's the only reason why it's a part of these hot topics. I can tell y'all, Biden, he was just ice cold, but not in a vicious way. In like a, did y'all heat him up before y'all sent him out here? Is he awake? And Trump was just lying like his life depended on it. Like everything he said was a lie. The worst part about it to me, y'all, were the facial expressions. Trump got out there. He looks like a pouting toddler. And Biden looks like they just rolled him out of his room at the nursing home and he's confused and he doesn't know why he's there and he doesn't know what to say next. And he's waiting for some type of insect or mosquito to fly straight into his mouth just so that he can shut it. Why did they have them up on stage? There was a moment in this debate where this man forgot completely what he was talking about.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Do we have time? Can we change to a new candidate? Is that possible? At some point, they were even talking about Donald Trump running against Kamala Harris, the current vice president. We never hear from her. We never see her. We've been seeing her more often now since that debate night, but it's very upsetting because if you were to put her on a ticket against him, I just don't see that working out in her favor. I don't think she has enough momentum based off of the experience that she's shown us to even begin to try to beat him. Just my opinion. And then Joe Biden have been doing a bunch of campaigns since then showing that he's very coherent. Look, my sentences are flowing. I was having a bad night. They tried to lie to us and tell us, oh, Biden had a cold. He was sick. He didn't cough not one time. He didn't sniff. He didn't do nothing. I don't know what he was doing, but it wasn't much of anything. That did not look like a cold to me. But I'm going to let them run with it. I watch Scandal. I know how this works. Anyways, fast forward, July 2024, Trump picked a vice president by the name of J.D. Vance. We don't know very much about him, but what we do know is that he is a senator from Ohio, and in the previous election, there are past tweets and comments that he's made about Trump where he was never in favor of Trump. So first he says, speaking of Trump, might be America's Hitler, might be a cynical a-hole, cultural heroine, noxious and reprehensible. I'm never a Trump guy. Never liked him. Terrible candidate. Idiot if you voted for him. Now, these comments were only so many years ago. That being said, what has changed in that period of time? What happened? Were you paid off? Have your ideals of him changed? Obviously, at some point, there's always a vice presidential debate. I think that'll be very interesting for them to ask him that question. How has your thoughts on Trump changed since the last election? And now you've chosen to run with him as a running mate. That is very interesting. People say, pray for Israel, pray for Pakistan, pray for Paris, pray for whoever, pray for America, because obviously we need it. At this point, I'm like Cat Williams. He said, America, we not in a great place. At this point, do we have to pick a president? Like, can we just date a president, see how it goes, and then we can decide from there? Can we postpone the election? Something, because this is crazy. Moving right along. Now, what was colder than the debate? I hate to say it, but I gotta tell y'all what stood out to me. I am talking about the 2024 BET Awards. Now, I did miss it that night, and I had to catch the replay. A lot of the things that I heard that happened in the BET Awards, by the time they edited it and then they re-aired it, there were parts that were completely taken out. Without further ado, let me jump into it. So the BET Awards opens up with Meg Thee Stallion. I had no idea any of the words to any of those songs. I don't know the name of any of them. Do they not come on the radio? Or maybe I'm just that out of touch with what's going on. Maybe it's a sign I'm getting old. Then we have the host come out. That is Taraji P. Henson. She starts out rapping to her own version of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. I guess a fun, good time to open up the show, but I just didn't care for it. Best International Act presented to Tyla. Tyla is that water girl. I call her the water girl. She sings that water song, the make me sweat, make me... Yeah, I don't even know the words to that song, but it come on the radio all the time, and I know it's the water song. So she won Best International Act. Then we have Taraji. She comes in and out during a lot of these performances. She had a lot of outfit changes, which I absolutely loved. After that, we have a performance by Victoria Monet. She sings that one song, Put That on My Mama, on My Hood, I Look Fly, I Look Good. Now, even though she did a remake of On My Mama, on My Hood, I Look Fly, I Look Good, Touch My Swag. Okay, that's taking me back to my days in college, right? Yes, now she jazzed it up and made it R&B like, and she does the Put That on My Mama, on My Hood, and I was like, I know this song. So I was excited when that came on, right? She did that song, cool. Best Male R&B Pop Artist, which I thought that was very odd. Best Male R&B Pop Artist. Isn't pop a separate category and R&B is a separate category? Whatever, new category. That went to Usher, the Usher Raymond. The next performance is Sexy Red. Sexy Red, y'all don't hear me talk about her much on this podcast. I like Cardi. Cardi is a level of ratchet. Sexy Red is a different level of ratchet. Now, maybe it's for the younger generation. Once again, I'm watching this show realizing I am out of touch what is going on. So Sexy Red gets up there and performs. She performs that Bae I Love You, You My Everything song. The audience, the crowd was so hyped. Next song, she performed the Get It Sexy, Get It Sexy. Then we cut away to a video right before the commercial, and we have Taraji P. Henson doing a video skit with Kamala Harris. I had to bring this back together because didn't I tell y'all earlier, since Kamala has been in the VP position, we barely ever hear from her. But now, a few months before the election, she decides to show up on video, not in person, to the BET Awards. The BET Awards has aired every single year since she's been the vice president. She's never showed up on video or in person before, but now she is. What really bothered me is that Kamala Harris, the way she was speaking, it was as if she was being a culture vulture to the culture that she's supposed to be a part of. When she would say certain things and she would speak with slang language, it did not seem natural. It didn't seem normal. It seemed like, well, this is how I appeal to these people.
Madam VP Harris, I'm worried about the election. Women's reproductive rights are on the line. Our Supreme Court is on the line. Our basic freedoms are being tested. Madam VP, I know you've been traveling across the country. What are you hearing?
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you, you're right, Taraji. There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality. But these extremists, as they say, they not like us.
They not.
You should have came in person. It doesn't seem authentic. I'm not buying it, and I'm moving right along. Then, the performance that just threw me for a loop was Will Smith. Now, Will Smith we know he had Bad Boys 4 come out, which was amazing. Y'all should go see it. He is trying to get back in the public light and get back in the public's good graces. He didn't show up before this. When things were on the up and up, Will Smith was not showing up to the BET Awards. Last time he showed up was when him and Jada were hosting the BET Awards, which was in the early 2000s. But since then, we have not seen or heard from Will. So now you want to show up? Now you want to get our support? Okay. You already got my support because I watched the movie, but I just felt like you were pandering. So he shows up to the BET Awards, not as an actor, but as a performer. Was he about to perform Wild Wild West? Is he about to perform Getting Jiggy With It? What in the world? Because I don't think this is going to go over well for him. I don't really think he's going to get audience participation. But no, that's not what he performed. He gets up there. He is rapping. It sounds like spoken word on stage. There is a choir, like a Sunday choir up there. It's gospel lyrics. Then at one point, Kirk Franklin comes out to join along in the performance. He was on stage for all of 15 seconds before it was over. Kirk, why did you even show up? Did you owe Will Smith a favor? Okay, this is the gospel section of the show. I don't have anything else to say about it. Then we have a black country artist performance, which is very different. I don't listen to country music. I don't even like country music. I don't even like it when Beyonce does it. But then we fast forward to the next performance, which is by the Glorilla. Then we have the presenter, Donald Glover. He presented the Album of the Year award, and that was given to Killer Mike. Killer Mike's album is called Michael. Then, unfortunately, we have another performance, but this one is by another black country singer, and the person's name was Shabuzi. I literally started fast forwarding, but then as I'm fast forwarding, I see another artist come out on stage. So I'm like, who is this? So I stop it and press play right at the right time. And who was it? Jaquan. Oh, all of a sudden I hear everybody in the club getting tipsy. Everybody in the club getting I was so excited. Like, yes, finally, something I could sing along to. Where have you been? I know this is not a current song, but I'll take it. Cool. Then all of a sudden, Shabuzi, the country singer, he's still performing. So he starts saying, everybody in the bar getting tipsy. Everybody in the club getting tipsy. It still had the same beat as the original Tipsy song. And I was like, I can get with this, okay? If you have country music and you're just going to change some of the words to the rap songs that I like, and you're going to have the same beat, I mean, I can be a country fan all day. I can do that. No problem. I got so excited. That was just literally the last 20 seconds of the performance, but it was a clever way to draw people in that are absolutely uninterested in country music, just like myself. Kudos to Shabuzi. Now we move on to present the Best New Artist Award. Who does this award go to? Tyla. Then we have an award presented for the Best Female R&B Pop Artist. That award goes to SZA, which she was not in attendance, but out of everybody in the category, it only made sense for her to win. Then we have a performance by Big Lotto, aka Lotto. I'm obviously out of touch because I still didn't know any of the songs that she sung. Then we have an award presented for the BET Her Award, which I was very confused by. Now, Victoria Monet, she ended up winning that award. What I was confused about was the BET Her Award. What are the qualifications? What are the stipulations? Do you just have to be a woman? Do you have to portray some type of good character or public service? Or they did not actually explain that. So I didn't understand the purpose of the award, but whatever, she won the award, so congratulations to her. Then we had Ice Spice perform. Ice Spice performed last year. She did horrible last year. She did horrible this year as well, too. Who edited this? Every single cuss word was exposed in her performance. There was zero censorship. This was the first time in a long time I fully understood why censorship is important, especially because the BET Awards, they had a lot of sponsors, Walmart being one, Dove being one. Obviously, they had presidential candidates on there. Why would you let so many of these bad words fly during an Ice Spice performance? You should have just cut to commercial. That looked a hot mess, but that is not where it stops. Then finally, we get to Usher because they're ready to present the Lifetime Achievement Award. They say good words about him. They do a video about him. Then they get to the performance. I watched this performance. It starts off with Childish Gambino. He sings You Don't Have to Call. Keke Palmer. She performs You Make Me Wanna. You Make Me Wanna Leave the one I'm with. Yes, she performs that. Okay, odd, but she can dance and she can sing. Cool. Summer Walker singing her part on the song Good Good. This is weird. Let's stay optimistic. Coco Jones singing There Goes My Baby. Marsha Ambrosia. By this point, I am just irritated because why are there so many women performing these Usher songs? I understand if you want to mix women in there. He's inspired a lot of males in the R&B industry. Why wouldn't you have them come out? I didn't even write down the song that Marsha Ambrosia sang because I was irritated. Chloe Bailey. She performs his song Good Kisser. Tinashe, they have her perform Nice and Slow. Then we have Tiana Taylor and Victoria Monet perform the Bad Girl song. Tiana Taylor, I get it. She's an amazing dancer and choreographer. Of course, she could do dance moves that Usher can do. Then I see Lotto. She comes out rapping. Usher's not a rapper, but Usher did have a rapper named Ludacris on his song, Yeah. So Lotto comes out rapping Ludacris's part, not even Usher's part of the song, but Ludacris's part, and changing up all the words to fit her, to match it to Lotto. Replacing Ludacris's name and putting Lotto's name in there. So then after Lotto raps her part, all of the women that just performed all these songs, because I didn't see Childish Gambino out there anymore, they end the performance by doing all the dance moves that come at the end of Usher's hit song, Yeah. As a fan, I was highly disappointed. But Usher was cheesing from ear to ear. I feel like we were cheated. Like maybe he was happy, but I thought that was a mess and it was hard to watch. Now what was even harder to watch was after the commercials, Usher goes up on stage for his acceptance speech. And he is like, I'm gonna warn y'all right now, I'm a talker. I'm gonna say exactly what I gotta say. I cuss sometimes, just bear with me. And I'm like, okay, Usher, now you're a professional, so don't be out here embarrassing us like Ice Spice did. You know how to stay tamed. You done been in this industry for too long. Why I say that? Obviously, he didn't listen to me. Usher starts talking about the music industry and how he loves it so much. He's been in it for 30 years. He's had a lot of ups and downs. He starts throwing in the importance of forgiveness. It's important to forgive people. Forgive. Y'all do realize that he was also influenced by P. Diddy. He's worked with P. Diddy a lot. He lived with P. Diddy at one point. P. Diddy, of course, was not at the BET Awards. Also, Usher said he's had a lot of low times in his life as well, but he is so grateful for the men that are standing on stage behind him, which are all power players in the music industry, because they have always had his back, even when things were really, really bad and he was going through hard times. And they will always have his back no matter what, and he would always have their back. And I'm like, why are you saying this? Because if y'all remember, some of the lawsuits that have come out this past year, Usher's name was included in some of those Diddy lawsuits. There were allegations in there as well, too. So now that Usher is out in the public eye, he keeps talking about forgiveness. And I have done some things, but they've had my back and they're going to still have my back. So is something else coming down the pipeline where you're telling them publicly, like, look, y'all standing behind me now, y'all better continue to stand behind me? I don't know. That's the way I took it. Now, also, what I did not like about Usher, Usher cussed like a sailor. He cussed so much. And these were not small, simple cuss words. He was saying MF, F. It was unnecessary where he was placing some of these cuss words. He did not need to emphasize his point with some of these cuss words? Are you just cussing because you saw a few people cuss on stage during their performance and you're like, shoot, they didn't stop them, so they ain't gonna stop me? But this is supposed to be your shining moment. You know how to be a professional. You would never go to Jimmy Fallon or Ellen DeGeneres. You would never be on CNN or Fox News and be spewing out cuss word after cuss word after cuss word. You would never. He's probably interviewed with David Letterman. I'm sure they were like, no cussing, and you respected it. But now you come to this black platform who also has a lot of important sponsors, and all you did was cuss, 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 cuss. In the live version, apparently they cut Usher's speech off because he was cussing so much. I hate that. Do not diminish the quality of the black network because you would not do that at other networks. That was a bone I had to pick. That put the ice cold temperature on the BET Awards. They could have kept this. I would be okay if I never watched it, really. So just to wrap it up, the Video of the Year award went to Victoria Monet. At some point, we see Lauryn Hill. She came out of hiding. She shows up and she randomly performs some of her songs, and then she brings out her son on stage, which I believe is her son with Wyclef, and he's performing with her. And actually, he can really sing. She should have started with him, or she should have just let him perform. But then it just cut off. And if there was anything more left in the BET Awards, I'm glad that it wasn't there available for me to watch, because I was so disappointed, and I really hope they do better next year. That award show was ice cold with a few positive nuggets, but for the most part, it was very disappointing. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. I wish I had a better review of it, but I cannot end my podcast episode on such a low note. Let me go ahead and do some really quick wrap-ups with you guys, starting with a hot music video that came out on July 4th, none other than Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us video. Kendrick Lamar, he is an artist in every aspect of the word, whether it's through words or imagery. Everything that he does is intentional, and you have to rewatch that video at least 10 times to catch all of these little Easter eggs that he put in there. You should definitely go and check that out. Then I wanted to alert you guys to a new show on Netflix called Supacell. Supacell is actually a really good show. It is mainly centered around a black cast, but I think that they're based in London. The image of the show is a black male with yellow eyes. There's a sci-fi aspect to this show, which if you are a sci-fi lover like me, you will love every moment of it. If you watch this late and you happen to fall asleep at some point, you'll have to remember the name of the episode that you're on, because the episodes are not numbered. Each episode, which there's only 6, they are titled by one of the main characters' names. So if you click for next episode, then it might not go to the exact next episode. So you need to actually go through the episode list and go in order of the names, because the story still continues in order. I thought that that was a really good show because, plot twist, it is actually centered around black kids that have one or both of their parents were carriers of Supacell. And somehow that gene mutation has become a Supacell for their offspring. So they're presented with some type of superpower. I won't say anything more, but it is very interesting, especially because Supacell is something that mainly affects black people. So now that mutating into something with power, I thought that was very interesting. There's a lot of takeaways that could come from this show, and once I have time, I'm definitely going to look into it. May even review it, not sure, but it was a really good show. Then another show on Netflix y'all should definitely see is called Desperate Lies. Now it's one of those Spanish shows where the mouth might not be in sync with the actual English words, but I'm telling you, it is actually worth the watch. It is about 18 episodes long, and it is about a woman that is pregnant with twins, but one of the twins is by her husband and the other twin is by another man. It's a juicy show. It's a deep show. It's one of those shows where I was watching it and my husband wasn't watching it, but he was in the room, and next thing you know, he like, go to the next episode. Yeah, it's one of those good shows. Apparently, this is a real thing. It's not just created for television. It is a rare phenomenon, but scientifically it is possible to be pregnant with twins that are by two different fathers. To wrap up my streaming updates, on Prime Video, Tyler Perry came out with a new movie starring Megan Good and Corey Hardick. It is called Divorce in the Black. This is a comedy, but it's also a drama, but it's also kind of a suspense. I thought it was a good plot twist and storyline, and to see how some of these actors and actresses have grown in their skill, I was very pleased by it. Now, to wrap up today's episode, I wanted to do a simple but sweet quote of the day. The author is unknown, but the quote is, "Life is short, smile while you still have teeth." And that concludes today's episode, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of Excuse Me, I'm Speaking. Please be sure to follow me on Instagram at SheIsTwinkle1. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel at SheIsTwinkle. Like the video. Until next time, I love you all. Bye-bye.